Hello everybody, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with another video, and today I get to my February pay-per-view review of my retro pay-per-view review series. And today's pay-per-view, WWF No Way Out 2000, took place February 27th, 2000 in Hartford, Connecticut at the Hartford Civic Center. On commentary, you got Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. This show is one I wanted to review for some time now. So, let's get into No Way Out. We start off as Kurt Angle, the European champion, defeats Chris Jericho to capture the Intercontinental Championship with Chyna in Chris Jericho's corner in an absolutely good match. This was a great match to start off No Way Out. It was a very fun match to watch. Angle comes out first, then Chyna comes out in her own entrance with the C2000, then Jericho comes out, and then, the ending of this match, Jericho attempts to go for the Lion's Salt on Angle. Angle holds up the title belt. Jericho gets knocked out. 1, 2, 3. Kurt Angle is the new Inter-Euro champion. Basically, he has both the European and Intercontinental championships. And it would lead to a running gag all throughout the night where Kurt Angle would be celebrating his victory, running around the entire building celebrating, in the crowds and the concession stands. Kurt Angle's doing all this nutty stuff. Next up, we have the Dudley Boyz defeating the New Age Outlaws to capture the WWF Tag Team Championships. And this was the end of the New Age Outlaws' run as a tag team, because this was the last pay-per-view of them being a team, because on the outside of the ring, Bubba Ray nails Billy Gunn in the arm with a lead pipe. And this would lead to Billy Gunn taking time off for shoulder surgery, and he was kicked out of DX soon afterwards. And we see this was just a great match, and the damn Dudleys win the tag team titles, so enough said. Next up, we get Mark Henry defeating Viscera. And now, this match basically came about because Viscera attacked a pregnant Mae Young who was pregnant with Mark Henry's child, because this was part of the whole storyline where Mae Young would give birth to a hand, which was supposed to be her and Mark Henry's child. So Mark Henry was challenging Viscera to fight for the honor of Mae Young, to defend Mae Young's honor, after Viscera had laid Mae Young out. And yes, Mae Young does come out during this match. And then Mark Henry hits the world's strongest slam. 1, 2, 3, Mark Henry beats Viscera. Yeah, this was not that good of a match, but hey, it is what it is. But then we get another good match on this show as Edge and Christian defeat Matt and Jeff Hardy in a great number one contenders tag team matchup, where the winning team gets a World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship opportunity at WrestleMania. And it was a damn good tag team match. A lot of people forget Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys are not just known for being guys who can use tables, ladders, and chairs. They also can have a normal good match, like a normal tag team match. Edge and Christian win thanks to Terry turning on the Hardys, because this was also the time period where Terry Reynolds turned on Matt and Jeff. And we would see where Terry would end up later, as she would later join the Radicals and manage Perry Saturn and be in Perry Saturn's corner. So, enough said. So, next up, our next match is Taz defeating the Big Boss Man via disqualification. Basically, this came about on Sunday Night Heat when the Boss Man and Albert jumped Taz. Then it was made into a match for No Way Out. This was like an impromptu match, and it was very short because Boss Man and Albert yet again would jump Taz, causing Boss Man to get DQ'd, and this didn't even go that long because it wasn't even that long of a match because it was hardly even a match at all. But Taz ends up fighting back against Boss Man and Albert. But again, really? What the fuck was with this whole scenario? Next up, we would have our next match being a 6-man, or shall I say, our next match is a no-holds-barred match, as XPac would defeat Kane in a no-holds-barred match. And I love the storyline for this whole thing because XPac had turned on Kane back in 1999 on SmackDown after he low-blowed Kane saying, "There isn't gonna be a new member of D-Generation X because you're a piece of crap!" And yes, granted, X-Pac and Kane are also former tag team champions. After X-Pac had low-blowed Kane and betrayed his best friend, X-Pac then stole Kane's girlfriend, Tori, and leading to Kane getting committed to an insane asylum, only to be bailed out by Paul Bearer. In order for Kane to get a no-holds-barred match with X-Pac, Kane had to defeat Triple H and the Big Show on Raw in a handicap match. Well, Kane does that just to get his hands on X-Pac. And when we finally get to the no-holds-barred match, it was crazy. It was a crazy no-holds-barred match. We see X-Pac and Kane in the crowd, and Kane's beating the crap out of X-Pac, and we see Tori get involved like she does. My favorite part of the match was when Kane tombstone Tori. And then, how this match ends is when X-Pac kicks steel steps back in Kane's face, and then buries Kane underneath the steel steps, pinning Kane. 1, 2, 3. X-Pac wins the no-holds-barred match against Kane. Then we get a 6-man tag match as the Radicals, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Chris Benoit take on Too Cool and Rikishi. This was a great 6-man tag match. I mean, Eddie Guerrero was in the Radicals' corner because his arm was injured, and this was the Radicals' first pay-per-view since they came over to the World Wrestling Federation. And they had a hell of a showing here. I mean, they took it to Too Cool and Rikishi, and yes, they would be feuding with Rikishi and Too Cool for a number of months, and then eventually they would go off and do their own things. It was still a fun match to watch, nonetheless. And even with an injured ankle, Rikishi still manages to dance, and still manages to get the victory for his teammates. Next up, we get a match. We get the Big Show defeating The Rock, where the winner would get a WWF opportunity at the championship at WrestleMania to go on to wrestle the WWF champion. This came about after Rock won the Royal Rumble. And then Big Show said, everyone in Madison Square Garden saw Rocky's feet hit the floor first. And Big Show for weeks had tried to show Triple H and Stephanie, proof, since the McMahon-Helmsley regime was in charge by this point. And Big Show finally got his proof with a videotape, and then after showing the videotape on the Titantron on SmackDown, Big Show was granted a match with The Rock at No Way Out. And yes, for weeks, Rock and Big Show had been at each other's throats for that title opportunity at No Way Out. Hell, there was a moment where Big Show and the D-Generation X put The Rock in the DX Express, but Rock got out and nailed the Big Show with a 2x4. There was a brawl in the backstage. They brawled in the backstage area, and Big Show threw The Rock through a window. And Big Show even hit The Rock in the face with a steel chair on Raw. But now we get to the actual match itself. It wasn't really that good of a match. I love Rock, don't get me wrong. I love Rock, and Big Show, I got nothing against the Big Show, but, the finish to this match was so fucking ridiculous. It had to have Shane McMahon get involved, and of course you had two referees argue all night with Earl Hebner and referee Tim White arguing all throughout the night after the ending to the Jericho Angle match earlier on in the night. And finally, right as we get to the main event, and so Shane McMahon, who returned after being thrown off the stage on SmackDown, would cost The Rock the match at No Way Out. And Rock had the match at No Way Out 1. Yes, Rock would still get his opportunity at WrestleMania, but then again, the McMahons just had to fuck up WrestleMania, didn't they? Now we get to our main event, as Triple H defends the World Wrestling Federation Championship against Cactus Jack, aka Mick Foley, in a career versus title Hell in a Cell match. This match was brutal. This was supposed to be the last match of Mick Foley's career, where if Cactus did not win the WWF Championship, then he had to retire. I mean, years of doing this hardcore, of being in hardcore matches, really takes their toll on Mick's body, and they sure did in this match. But this match was one hell of a way to go out for a legend like Cactus Jack, as him and Triple H beat the shit out of each other. This not only made Cactus's final match so memorable, but this also made Triple H a force that shouldn't be reckoned with when it comes to the main event scene. It's something about Foley making main eventers. It's like Foley was destined to make future main eventers, and he definitely made one main eventer out of Triple H. I mean, this match ends right at the top of the Hell in a Cell structure, where Foley was attempting to pile drive Triple H on the roof of the Hell in a Cell. They brawled inside the cell, outside the cell, on the roof of the cell. Foley tried to pile drive Triple H. Then Triple H, he reversed the pile driver and sent Foley through the roof, and Foley's body broke the fucking ring. And then the one final pedigree, 1, 2, 3, Triple H retains the World Wrestling Federation Championship, and Cactus Jack retires. Of course, Mick would return at WrestleMania 2000, and then he would wrestle after that. After WrestleMania 2000, he would go on to wrestle some more, but even so, this was the last time of him being a full-timer. Anyway, this has been your Digital Super Saiyan 3, and I'll see you in March for WrestleMania 14.